Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcoming you to a new episode with Stuart Kerslake from UK, and our topic is entrepreneurship and SDG 6. So, SDG 6 is the Sustainable Development Goals of Clean Water and Sanitation. And also, I choose this goal. I'm on Paniwala. That's why I am Paniwala, because I choose this goal. So, welcome, Stuart. Thank you for giving your time. Introduce yourself to my viewers.
Thank you, beautiful Ahmed, and I love that that's your wallet, the Palmy wallet. It's fantastic. So I am a coach, and I coach people in the sustainability space. So I actually call myself a sustainable business coach, and the reason why I call myself that is because it's about helping people be sustainable in themselves first, to understand their vision, to be really clear on their vision, and also to we all have these thoughts and feelings about ourselves and other people in the world which are not always helpful. You know, I'm not good enough, I'm not powerful enough, I don't know enough, all these things. And I help people understand what's going on for them, and so that they don't have to run their business from that space. You know, you can have a belief that you're not good enough and still create a very successful business, but it does need you to be aware of that and to just not to let it rule you in your business. And I found working with people in this space, they are often here because they have a passion for what they do. They really want to be of service to the planet and to other people. And sometimes they forget the practicalities of enterprise, the practicalities of business as well. So I help them become more sustainable in their business by making it more profitable, because there's no shame in profit. It's what you do with the profit that matters, really, you know. So I love the Muhammad Yunus. Muhammad Yunus is a fabulous Bangladeshi. I don't know if you know about Professor Yunus, but he was the grandfather of microfinance, micro lending. You know, very small amounts of money, particularly for people in the West, you know, can make a huge difference elsewhere in the world. So it's about lending money to people in order for them to be entrepreneurial in some way. And he has this idea of creating a social business where it's for profit. It's about making as much profit as you can for the purpose of that social benefit. No, so he talks about for-profit non-distribution, which means that the money doesn't get distributed to shareholders or to anyone else. It stays in the business for the benefit of whatever the activity is, in this case, clean drinking water and sanitation. So I just wanted to frame that up because I'm a huge fan of the work of Dr. Yunus. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing the information of SDG, and yes, it's important. So let's go towards the questions. Our question is: I already told you that I am on SDG 6. That's why. What inspired you to focus on sustainable development, particularly in the context of SDG 6, clean water and sanitation?
Well, there's two reasons. One is because water is life, and I usually have a water background behind me, but I couldn't find the one I wanted quickly. Um, uh, so I have most of the people that I work with are related to water in some way. It might be the oceans, it might be the rivers, um, and so that's the first reason why, because water is life. Without water, every living creature on the planet will die. You know, everything is seeking water in some form, and that right, almost, if you like, is not available to everyone. Not easily. I'm blessed. I can walk 10 feet over there and turn a tap on, and water comes out of the tap. But that's not true for other people in the world. And so those were the two reasons why you know SDG 6 really resonates with me. But I love the whole Sustainable Development Goal model. You know, it's having a focus that we can all, you know, everyone on the planet can focus around the same thing. I think is really powerful.
Yep, that's why I'm working on this goal, because without water, there's no aspect of life. And without water, there is no forest, there is no food, there is nothing. Because water is the main aspect. Water is also used for plantation, and we drink water. Our body is on water, 75%. So it's important aspect of life. Let's move towards to the next question. How do you see entrepreneurship contributing to achieving SDG 6 goals? Yeah, that's my question.
I love it because you're an aspiring entrepreneur as well. So um, I believe that, and I know we may talk about the role of government and the role of bigger organisations, um, but I believe that enterprise is the answer to most things. Um, I'm going to share something. I was in an event back in 2007. Sorry, before you were born, I'd imagine. But it was um, a group of entrepreneurs that were coming to learn about various things, but including connection to our spirit. And that's a big key to me is actually being realizing that we are one. And this is another reason why I love water, because water is such a powerful metaphor for oneness. Because you know there is only one body of water on this planet, and some of it's in you, and some of it's in me, and some of it's in the sky, and some of it's in the oceans. You know, they've now noticing there are rivers in the sky. I mean, it made an absolute mess of Los Angeles a week or so ago. You know, when it came down. So water is just connects us all. And in this event that I was at the end of it, they got us to all hold hands or to put our arms around the next person so that we were all connected. And then they put on this video, and it was all about, you know, the banking crisis and 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down in America, and the war on terror and all these terrible, terrible things. And yet, the next thing they put up was the Sustainable Development Goal targets, because 2007 was halfway through, sorry, the Millennium Goals, as they were called, the Millennium Goals. And we were beating all of those targets, despite all these war and banking, you know, banks going bust and all this kind of stuff. And I genuinely believe that it was being created by individual people and by entrepreneurial people. So I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that entrepreneurs are part of the solution, a big part of the solution. Um, and just to finish that, of course, here we are, just over halfway through the Sustainable Development Goals, because those were the Millennium Goals were 2000 to 2015, and the SDGs are 2015 to 2030. So I would hope and imagine that despite COVID and wars and you know climate anxiety and all these things going on at the moment, that we're probably still beating all of the SDG goals through individual people and through enterprise. and that's my hope. So I hope that answers the question. I don't know how specifically someone will come up with a fantastic way of um, drawing water out of the sky or something. I'll leave that to the experts. But I really believe that entrepreneurs will create this.
Yeah, you're answering well. Don't worry, but you're answering. It's a good, and I think SDG is like there are some different goals. The goal is on education. The goal is on industry. So, but I like SDG 6 because I think I love water. That's why, and
Yes.
I love to become an entrepreneur, uh,
Mm,
a problem-solving entrepreneur, not product-looking entrepreneur. That's
yeah.
what I thinking. So
And
let's
may I suggest something there? So I think it's what I said before. You can be profitable and passionate and purposeful. Profit is just a way of ensuring you have more funds available to make the difference that you want to make.
thank you for adding. And I choose this imagination. My inspiration is Rehan. First of all, my main imagination is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the next one is Rehan Allah, and next one is my father. So
Fantastic.
Rehan Allah is my best mentor ever, and my bestest mentor is peace be upon him, Hazrat Muhammad. So I will follow them. And Rehan Allah goal is to empower everyone to earn up to 1 lakh rupees
Mm.
in
It's a
Pakistan.
powerful, powerful mission. Beautiful mission. Yeah.
Also, thank you for. Let's move towards to the question. What are some innovative solutions you come across or implemented? Oh,
It's okay. It's
the
okay.
question is
I will answer
okay.
this for one of my. I'll answer it for one of my clients. Okay. So my client has a school in Kenya. In fact, he has three schools in Kenya, and uh, the often the biggest challenge over there is that uh, the access to water is difficult, and because if they don't have water in the school, the students have to go and get it, and typically it's the girls who go to get it, and this is partly a cultural thing because water is part of the home, and the girls and the women look after the home. So that's why it's often the girls who go out and collect the water. But it means all the time that they are out collecting water, they're not getting an education because the school is going on and they're out collecting water. So what they did here is they created a rainwater collection system on the roof. So there was an organization, I think based in America, who has this way of maximizing the water you get from the rainfall that you do get and putting it in containers where it doesn't evaporate. So you keep as much as possible of the water for the future. So there's an example. They've also drilled a borehole, and it has to go quite deep down underground to get the underground water. Um, so those are the solutions. I could talk later about the challenges, but those are the solutions that I've seen for water in particular solutions. That's an example.
Also, I have a solution that is purify water and other things. But in this time, I'm researching on how to purify water. You can try boiling, you can try chemical treatment and settling, these type of things.
Mm, mm.
Even I would make a faceless on them. You can see on my wall, Facebook wall.
Okay, thank you. I'll take a look.
Okay, thank you. Let's move towards how do you approach balancing profit making with the social and environmental impact of your ventures?
I think I may have addressed this already because as I say, no, it's okay. I love this model, this social business model of Dr. Yunus. Um, I mean, interestingly, he comes from a country, Bangladesh, which can have its challenges with water. Water can actually be their biggest problem over there, which is interesting. Floods and all the rest of it. But he has this model of social business where the social bit means this is the social and environmental impact. So being really clear on the vision of that. And then being for profit and even if you like competing with other for profit businesses. The only distinction is that the profits don't need to be distributed to a shareholder. They can be reinvested in the business to make more impact and more impact and more impact. So I see no problem. For me, profit and impact are part of the same piece, that they are in balance. And I understand that for a lot of entrepreneurs, that's the bit that's challenging. They think they have to be non-profit, and they don't have to be non-profit. They can be for-profit, non-distribution, which means nothing is going out of the business to shareholders. Now, there's a variation on that, which is that people, there are social lenders out there, people who will lend money, and so you can repay them that what they lent you, the loan, so that they can lend it to other people and make a bigger difference that way. But that's not the same as paying dividends or something to a shareholder.
Okay. Yep. I think um, profit is on, but you have to see the problem. Because if you're seeing the, oh, I'm just telling, if you're seeing the product, it's not good. Because you can see even Elon Musk is donating. So donating is good because these are your reputation of your company, and I will give you a tip. So because the donation is like dua.
Mm.
Okay, so let's move towards to the next question.
Can I come back to that? I absolutely hear you with the value of donation, and because you're an entrepreneur, my invitation to you and to others is that you can make more money by having something creative, something innovative. It doesn't even have to be about water, but have something, have some product that people want to buy. Um, from my experience, you will make more money than having to go for donations, because donations there's an energy around donations. There's almost like, how can I put it? It's almost like you're going out, with a begging bowl. It's almost like that, and people receiving it can say, "Oh, I've done enough giving now." Whereas if you actually have an enterprise, even if it's like I've got that's a little thing to remind me about the whales. If the business has something there like that they can make locally, or something, now you've got a product and you're not there asking people to give their money. And you see, I would rather go and ask somebody, will you lend money for my business and I will pay you back out of profits, than to go to someone and ask for a donation. So I'm just sharing that as important in the world of water in particular as donation is. I mean, I donate to I can't remember what it's called now, but it's one of the water charities, and I see the value of it, and they use it for beautiful purposes in the world of water. But I just, because you're an entrepreneur, I'm just putting it out there. There's amazing things you can do in order to make your money uh, through trading and not necessarily through donation.
Sorry to say, I want to become an entrepreneur. I'm taking training, but
Mm,
um, also, but I earn money from Facebook, so you can call me entrepreneur.
yes,
Also, I did the things business on lockdown at COVID, and there's so much profit on, like you have supermarket on card.
yes.
Yes, so I will do the business on lockdown. So that's a good aspect for me for learning. So you can call me entrepreneur. Thank you. Okay, so how important is collaboration with other stakeholders such as governments, NGOs, and local communities in your work?
Yeah, no, it's hugely important because there's a lot of infrastructure projects involved. As I say, I often work with smaller businesses, looking at cleaning up our rivers or looking after particular wildlife in the oceans. So where you can be smaller with water and sanitation. There's so much infrastructure that you need the support of governments and NGOs, and charity water is the charity that I support, and I understand the value of that. I think it's communities as well. I think it's local communities are so important. We're back to this, you know, smaller, more enterprising approach, because the challenge with governments and NGOs is they're so big it can take time for them to change. Whereas, you know, what might be needed is something quick or something innovative. Um, so there's a balance there. This one really is about a balance. Um, Local communities, local action groups, local change. So, for example, I in the UK there was a local community who all came together and contributed their own private money to create. I can't even remember what it's called now, but it's like you know a hydroelectric dam, which is generating electricity with the water pouring through a dam. There's this way of doing that on a very small scale, and without disturbing the river too much. So they did that in their local river. So they channeled the water off through this turbine, and then the water carried on down the river, and it powered the whole village. So rather than being part of the main electricity system, they could get most of their electricity through this. That's the kind of play. That's the kind of way that maybe local communities can add to this.
Okay, yes, it's important. Now, next question is, what role can individuals play in supporting efforts to achieve SDG 6, both as consumers and advocates?
Well, this is a difficult one for me because I like to talk about abundance, and there is a lot of water on this planet, but it may not be where those people are themselves. You know, that they may be very hard to find water. So it's a difficult one for me because from the mindset of abundance, you know, there will always be water, but from a consumer perspective in parts of the world, what I'm about to say is going to be obvious to them, which is to conserve water. You know, think about how you're using water other than for drinking. You know, in the Western world, for want of a better word, you know, we probably just let water pour out of our taps. You know, we don't. You know, we wash our cars and we wash. You know, and then as I say, in rural Kenya, you have these girls walking 3, 4, 5 miles to get water to then bring it back to the home before they even start school. So it's like, be more conscious of the water that you use, and the sanitation aspects of that. You know, it's so that's what we can do as consumers and as advocates. Just there is a lot of advocates for SDG 6 because people realize how important it is that water is. It's like food, water, air. That, you know, that's what most creatures on this planet need, including us. Um, so, but the advocacy, you know, for me around clean water would be really about making it sustainable, truly sustainable. You know, not in the hands of water companies like we have in the UK. The companies in the UK are, believe it or not, are discharging sewage into the rivers. So that, you know, whilst it's not, you know, it helps them keep the water flowing and all the rest of it, they are poisoning the rivers. So it's those kinds of things. Be an advocate for clean water wherever you are in the world. You know, yeah, I think that's what I have to say about that.
No, you're answering good, mashallah. So now it's time for the end. What advice would you give to our audience? A short uh, tip.
So I think you know, for a global audience, the last bit that we said, be conscious of your water impact. Be conscious of the impact that sanitation and in particular makes upon the planet, because there is only one body of water, as I previously said. So the water that leaves your toilet, for the sake of argument, ends up in someone else's river, and then they end up drinking it. So just be conscious that we are all connected. It's one planet, and um, the other tip I would give is be enterprising in your approach to things. Even if you live, even if you work in a charity or not for profit or an NGO or in the government, be entrepreneurial about it. Think differently. Think fresh. It doesn't have to be the same. Um, I love that story I shared of this community building this little tiny um, water turbine to create their own electricity. I just think that's a fabulous story. And there are probably other examples of that that could be created around the world to really help with. I know that was more about creating electricity, it wasn't about water, but there'll be similar things that can be done. You know, if you live by the ocean, let's see what we can do with desalination, take the salt out of the water and things. So, yeah, those would be my tips. Be entrepreneurial and be conscious of your impact on water in one way or another.
Thanks for giving your special time, viewers, guys. Inshallah, See you on the next episode with a new guest. And thank you, Stuart. Inshallah, Pakistan will grow more. Pakistan Zindabad. And Allah
Thank you, Ahmed.
Hafiz.
Thank you, Ahmed. It's been brilliant. You're a very good host.